In a bold move that has sent ripples through international trade relations, President Donald Trump announced significant tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China, igniting a swift wave of retaliatory responses from these key trading partners. This latest escalation in trade tensions comes just as Trump embarks on another term, raising concerns about the potential impact on American consumers and the global economy. Effective immediately, the new tariffs impose a 25% levy on all imports from Mexico and Canada, with a 10% tariff on Chinese goods. These measures were framed by Trump as necessary to address trade imbalances and to combat the importation of fentanyl, which has been linked to the opioid crisis in the United States. These tariffs may cause some pain, Trump acknowledged, but they will ultimately be worth the price to protect American jobs and interests. The reaction from Canada and Mexico was swift and unequivocal. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemned the tariffs as unwarranted and announced that Canada would impose a matching 25% tariff on $155 billion worth of U.S. goods in retaliation. Canada will stand up to this bullying, Trudeau stated, emphasizing the need for a fair trading relationship based on mutual respect rather than threats. Meanwhile, Mexican officials expressed their deep disappointment, indicating that they would explore all available options to defend their economic interests. China, too, did not hold back in its response. The Ministry of Commerce issued a statement denouncing the tariffs as an unjustified action and announced plans to file a legal case against the U.S. at the World Trade Organization (WTO). The statement emphasized that while China seeks a stable relationship with the U.S., it would take necessary countermeasures to protect its rights and interests. The ministry pointed out that the U.S. should approach issues like drug trafficking with a realistic perspective rather than resorting to punitive tariffs. The implications of these tariffs are far-reaching and complex. Economists warn that the additional costs imposed on imports could lead to increased prices for a range of consumer goods from electronics to food. The United Steelworkers Union voiced its concern, urging the administration to reconsider its approach toward key allies like Canada, arguing that such actions could ultimately harm American workers rather than help them. The tariffs also raise questions about the future of U.S. trade policy and its relationship with these countries. In the past, similar tariff measures have resulted in tit-for-tat responses, leading to prolonged trade wars that can disrupt markets and trade flows. The current landscape, characterized by a fragmented WTO and rising nationalism, could exacerbate these tensions, making it harder for nations to find common ground. As the situation unfolds, the international community is watching closely. The potential for further escalations looms large, with each country poised to respond to the other's moves. The Biden administration, as it gears up for its own policy agenda, will likely have to navigate this increasingly complex trade environment and consider its long-term strategies for dealing with both allies and rivals on the global stage. In conclusion, the imposition of these tariffs marks a significant shift in U.S. trade policy under Trump, one that prioritizes aggressive actions against key trading partners. As this situation develops, it remains to be seen how both domestic industries and international relations will adapt to this new reality. The coming weeks and months will be critical in shaping the future of trade dynamics, not only between the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and China, but also in the broader context of global commerce. In a dramatic escalation of trade tensions, President Donald Trump has announced a significant imposition of tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, igniting a trade war that has sent shockwaves through North America and beyond. This move, which includes tariffs of 10% on Chinese goods and 25% on imports from its North American neighbors, was signed into effect on February 1, 2025, and is framed by the administration as a necessary measure to protect American interests, particularly in combating the flow of illicit fentanyl and curbing illegal immigration. The swift reactions from Canada and Mexico illustrate the depth of discontent and betrayal felt by these allies. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau expressed profound disappointment, stating, "The actions taken today by the White House split us apart instead of bringing us together." He announced that Canada would respond with matching tariffs on approximately $155 billion worth of U.S. imports targeting products such as alcohol and fruit. This retaliatory approach signals a potential spiral of economic retaliation that could further disrupt trade within the region. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum also rejected the U.S. accusations linking her government to criminal organizations, asserting that her administration would impose similar tariffs to protect Mexico's interests. The rhetoric from both leaders reveals a deepening fracture in relationships that have traditionally been characterized by cooperation and mutual support. Trump's tariffs have been justified as a response to perceived failures by Canada and Mexico to address issues that the administration claims contribute to the U.S. opioid crisis. However, critics warn that these tariffs could exacerbate inflation and undermine the very economic stability that Trump seeks to uphold. An analysis by Yale's Budget Lab suggests that the average American household could see a reduction in income equivalent to $1,170 due to these new tariffs, a substantial hit in a time when economic recovery is still fragile. The implications of these tariffs extend beyond immediate economic repercussions. They threaten to disrupt supply chains that have been finely tuned over decades of globalization. For instance, the imposition of tariffs on energy imports from Canada could lead to increased prices for consumers while also straining the economic interdependence that has characterized U.S.-Canada relations. China, already familiar with the impacts of tariffs from the previous trade war, has condemned the latest measures. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs expressed strong opposition, stating that it would take necessary countermeasures to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. Additionally, China's Ministry of Commerce has announced plans to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization, underscoring the potential for a broader confrontation on the global stage. As businesses in China prepare for the ramifications of these tariffs, there is a palpable sense of anxiety. Many factories, like one producing cowboy boots in Jiangsu, are already feeling the pressure from dwindling orders and may need to consider relocating production to avoid additional costs. This trend, however, raises questions about the long-term viability of manufacturing in China, especially as companies explore alternatives in Southeast Asia where production costs may be more favorable. The situation is compounded by the political landscape in the U.S. The Democrats have swiftly criticized the tariffs, with Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer arguing that they will only serve to raise prices for consumers. The political fallout from these tariffs could be significant, as inflationary pressures may erode the support Trump has garnered from voters who expect lower prices on essential goods. Looking ahead, the potential for an extended trade war looms large, with Trump signaling that this is just the beginning of a broader strategy that could include tariffs on additional goods from the European Union and other regions. The global economic landscape may see substantial shifts. This ongoing saga will likely shape the international trading system for years to come, as countries reassess their relationships and prepare for a potentially confrontational future. In conclusion, the introduction of these tariffs not only marks a pivotal moment in U.S. trade policy but also poses significant risks to economic stability both domestically and internationally. As the situation unfolds, the responses from Canada, Mexico, and China will be crucial in determining the trajectory of this trade conflict and its broader implications for global commerce. The coming weeks will be critical as allies and adversaries alike gauge the administration's next moves, and the world watches closely for signs of escalation or resolution in this high-stakes economic drama. In a significant shift in diplomatic rhetoric, former President Donald Trump, during his initial days in office for a second term, openly acknowledged North Korea as a nuclear power. This statement, made amidst a flurry of executive orders, marks a departure from the long-standing U.S. policy of non-recognition regarding Pyongyang's nuclear capabilities. Trump stated, "He is a nuclear power, but we get along," indicating a willingness to engage with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, whom he described as having a favorable view of him. Analysts interpret this as a potential pivot in U.S. strategy that could complicate relations with China, especially if the U.S. were to pursue direct nuclear negotiations with North Korea, sidelining Beijing in the process. This evolving narrative comes in tandem with growing concerns over China's assertive military posture and technological advancements, particularly in naval capabilities. Recent reports highlight China's Type 055 destroyer, one of the largest warships globally, demonstrating its potential effectiveness against U.S. naval fleets through simulations involving unmanned systems. In a simulated battle scenario, a single Type 055, supported by drones and unmanned boats, successfully defended against an assault from 8 U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. This simulation underscores China's military ambitions and innovation in warfare as it seeks to leverage unmanned technologies to gain a strategic edge in maritime conflicts. The implications of these developments are multifaceted. Trump's acknowledgement of North Korea as a nuclear power could embolden Pyongyang, potentially destabilizing the already fragile security dynamics in East Asia. Furthermore, if the U.S. opts for bilateral negotiations with North Korea, it risks alienating China, which has historically viewed the Korean peninsula as a critical sphere of influence. Simultaneously, China's advancements in military technology such as the Type 055 destroyer and the development of a kill web strategy that integrates drones and unmanned vessels reflect a broader trend of increasing military assertiveness. This has raised alarms within the Pentagon, as analysts assess the potential for a redefined balance of power in the region. The reported capabilities of the Type 055, which include advanced radar and missile defense systems, pose a significant challenge to U.S. naval operations, especially given the projected expansion of the Chinese Navy. As tensions escalate, the U.S. is reinforcing its military presence in the Indo-Pacific region with a focus on enhancing submarine capabilities and investing in advanced technologies. Recent congressional appropriations totaling $6.6 billion since 2018 aim to bolster American maritime defense, a necessity in light of China's ambitious military modernization efforts. Against this backdrop, the integrity of undersea internet infrastructures is also under scrutiny following incidents involving Chinese ships disrupting critical undersea cables. Such actions not only threaten global connectivity but also illustrate China's broader strategy to assert dominance over regional internet infrastructures, potentially undermining U.S. influence in the region. The intertwining of military preparedness and technological security highlights the urgency for American policymakers to craft strategies that prioritize both defense and resilience in connectivity. As geopolitical tensions continue to mount, the need for clear and strategic responses becomes increasingly critical. The complex dynamics of U.S.-China relations signal a future where military posturing, technological competition, and diplomatic engagements will shape the contours of international security. Moving forward, the U.S. will need to navigate this intricate landscape with a focus on alliances and robust defense capabilities, all while addressing the evolving threat posed by North Korea and the aggressive posture of China. The coming months will likely witness further developments as both nations recalibrate their strategies in response to these shifting dynamics.